Please call the roll, Mr. Secretary.
Mayor White.
Present.
Mayor Whitmire.
Present.
Councilmember Peck.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Kamen.
Present.
Councilmember Evans Shabazz.
Here.
Councilmember Flickinger. Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Huffman.
Present.
Councilmember Castillo will be absent. Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Pollard.
Here.
Councilmember Castex Tatum.
Here.
Councilmember Ramirez.
Here.
Councilmember Davis. Councilmember Carter. Councilmember Salinas. And Councilmember Alcorn.
Here.
Need a motion to adopt the minutes of March 31st and April 1st and April 7th and 8th.
Castex Tatum move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes. Procedural motions.
Salinas first.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes, I'd like to move to add Dustin Reinders, Jennifer Canales, and David Donati to the top of the 3-minute non-agenda list.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes. Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move to suspend the rules to add Marion Wright to the bottom of the 1-minute non-agenda for 2 minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to suspend the rules to add Ivy McGregor, Stephen Taylor, and Craig Hawkins at the bottom after Felicia Kizzy under the 3-minute non-agenda list.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes. Anyone else? If not, please call our first speaker.
Ariane Whittle. To be followed by Dewan Carter.
Tell Shane to bring me some ice.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Ariane Whittle, and I am coming up as a mentee representative for the CA4Y Credible Messenger Program. And there are many reasons that led up to me becoming a part of the CA4Y Credible Messenger Program back in August of 2025. During recent obstacles, I experienced an unfortunate series of events, resulting in it being one of the lowest points of my life. But it was all a part of a season that challenged me in ways I never expected. As an Alabama native residing here in Texas, I found myself without my family nearby, very few friends, and little to no resources. I was navigating throughout a job loss, struggling with effects of my background, and facing instability in my living situation. At one point, I began relying on the kindness of friends just to have a place to lay my head, and while also trying to recover from unemployment and figure out how to rebuild my life. In the middle of the uncertainty, I knew I needed more purpose. So CA4Y Credible Messenger Program, I can honestly say, has been a positive turning point in my life, considering that it brought me to connections such as medical assistant career training, skills and preparedness, legal assistance, therapeutic practicing sessions, and advocacy group internship opportunity and drastic life changes. Not only have I seen a difference in myself, but the people around me notice a difference in my situation and the way I show up. This program has given me a different outlook on life. I've seen different levels of growth, elevation, and more importantly, I've been surrounded with people who saw my potential even when I struggled to see it myself. Through this journey, I've gained more than just resources. I've gained a renewed sense of who I am and what I'm capable of becoming. Today, I stand here not just as someone who has experienced hardship, but as someone who is growing, rebuilding, and moving forward successfully. And for that, I'm more than grateful. Thank you to Councilmember Tarsha Jackson for funding this organization in order for them to support individuals like me.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a second, ma'am. Councilman Davis. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Whitty, for coming in and sharing your story. I know the Credible Messenger Program has been a great asset for a lot of young men and women who have been at risk of going into the criminal justice or juvenile justice system, young men and women who are unemployed. And so we're just excited to be able to fund this program. This actually, colleagues, this is on the agenda tomorrow. Agenda number 35, where we're going to continue to support the Credible Messenger Program, young people like you. So thank you so much for just sticking with it. Because we can create the programs, but we need the young people, the participants, to stick with it and follow it through, and you have. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Next. Do you see that? we got it. All right.
Oh, he's got
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm DeJuan Carter. I'm also coming on behalf of the Credible Messenger Group. I just want to speak on first. It's bigger than me. I started the program. I met my mentor Jace at a roof I was working on, and he was speaking to a mentee that I wasn't even worrying about being in the program. I was just listening, and he caught my attention with graphic design. And from me going to do graphic design, I finished the program, I graduated, and I'm also working on being a mentor. I'm looking into that because I do love kids. I have a 5-year-old son of my own, and I do want to lead because I feel like, like I said, it's bigger than me. I grew up in programs like this. I played sports all my life. I'm a full sport athlete, football, basketball, baseball, and I ran track. I just look a little rough around the edges. And it's art. I like art. So I also have an AI YouTube channel, and I say that to say that comes from me doing graphic design and just thinking out the box. I actually have 2 that just started as of 2 weeks generating money. It's not no life-changing money, but it is money. And that came from me doing the joining the program and trying to start doing graphic design, and it made me just think outside the box. But programs like this are needed in the inner city. Young men that look like me need this program. You want to call it the hood or the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, we need programs like this. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was in a program before Katrina. It was called St. Mark's, and it was a male mentoring program. And they taught us carpentry. I learned how to make a dog house and build a bird house. I learned how to paint. And from that, they sold them and put money in our pocket, and that kept me straightforward because I'm an only child, and my mother worked good jobs. She worked all my life from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening, so I had nothing but time to be in trouble. But from programs and just mentors in general in the urban areas, I stayed out of trouble. I played football. They directed me to sports. So with all that being said, programs like this are needed in the inner city. It doesn't matter color. It doesn't matter black, brown, or white. They have all colors in the inner cities, in the ghetto, in the hoods, whatever you want to label them. And we are needed. They are needed. So please don't forget about us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson.
Again, thank you, Mr. Carter, for coming and sharing your story. And again, thank you, colleagues, for voting to support our Credible Messenger funding on tomorrow so that we can keep this program going, so we can make sure that our young men and women have opportunities like good jobs and places to stay, and just a mentor to guide them. Y'all know this is like very important to me because my son, before he got caught into the system, he didn't have a mentor, and this is a mentor would have helped redirect him. And so just making sure we have those opportunities laid out for these young men is what we need. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to suspend the rule to add Nathaniel Leonard to the top of the 1-minute agenda list. Move. Yes.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Nathaniel Leonard. Okay. To be followed by Elsa Flores.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Okay. Would you, okay. Would you want to know what my case is, or?
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I just had a situation with being targeted and sabotaged by this bigot sheriff for a little over 20 years, 22, 23 years, where I could not work. And I was basically knocked out, kidnapped, and brainwashed and kept from working. The number one thing was kept from working. If you can work, you can take care of your life or family or something and pay bills, and I wasn't able to do that. And then also being knocked out, kidnapped, and brainwashed to, he wanted to control my life and send me places and stuff. Been around all over Houston and a few places in Texas, Dallas, definitely Austin, and I guess
Your time has
San
expired.
Antonio. Huh? Is that it, Mr. Whitmire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Who do I get back with?
Renee. You can talk to Renee.
Talk to Renee or Rebecca. Rebecca, will you get the information, please? Talk to this lady right here, Rebecca Williams. Over by the door. Or Renee, you can help. Next.
Elsa Flores? No.
Good afternoon, members of City Council. Good afternoon, Mayor. My name is Elsa Flores. I'm the president of SEIU Texas, and I am here today on behalf of the housekeepers and service workers at the Convention and Entertainment Center who have not received a raise since 2023. That's 3 years. 3 years that rent goes up, 3 years that groceries goes up, groceries and everything else that you can think of. But workers' salaries have not gone up. Workers are struggling. After paying rent and basic expenses, they have nothing left to survive on. Workers are making impossible choices. Do they buy food or do they buy gas so that they can actually get to work? Workers are not asking for anything extraordinary. They are asking for fair pay. Houston First already supported higher wages for the Hilton Americas. Those workers now have $20 minimum wage, and they're getting raises to up to $22 for some cases. These workers at George R. Brown Convention Centers do the same work in the same convention district.
Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elsa, for being here, your members, and certainly you're going to be receiving equivalent to the George Brown. It's already in the process through our conversations, so expect that benefit improvement. It's long overdue, and thank you for being members.
Thank you so much, sir.
Have a good day. Just a second. Elsa, Councilman Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Elsa, thank you for being here. To the members of SEIU, this is a similar conversation we had not too long ago with Unite here. And I am committed and will be consistent with the same messaging as then. As downtown is doing better, that needs to trickle down to the folks that are in the hospitality space. We cannot continue to have 50,000 visitors and not make sure that the folks that are taking care of those visitors are not having a fair wage as well. And so, thank you for continuing to speak up. If there's one thing that's important to me is making sure that folks can have a decent pay, so that way they're not working 2 or 3 jobs, because you need to be at home with your families as well. And all that matters in making the city a stronger and thriving city as well. So thank you for your leadership, Elsa, to the SEIU group. Sigue con la lucha. Aquí estoy con ustedes.
Thank you so much. And let me just say, today I'm here to speak about George Hart Brown Convention Center, but I know I've spoken to some of you that we need to lift up all city subcontract workers in the city, and we'll be back to be able to talk about that.
Yes.
Very good. Councilman Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor. Elsa, I too wanted to thank you, all of SEIU. I see even some of our airport workers standing together in solidarity on this. So thank you all for taking the time to be here. To use your voice. Elsa, it sounded like you may have gotten cut off. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Just how extremely proud I am of this city. Our members are the backbone of the convention center. We're about to have, we've had world-class events, whether it's a convention or whether it's a sports event. Our members are the backbone of those events and make our city even greater. So we appreciate the calls to Houston First to make sure they're not left behind.
Thank you, Councilman Salinas.
Thank you, Elsa, so much for being here. I just wanted to give you the opportunity. Do you have any specific ask of myself and my colleagues that we can do to support you in this fight?
Again, we understand that it is Houston First that puts out the contracts. They're the ones who decide how much money goes into this contract. So a call to that committee or that board and the CEO would be greatly appreciated.
Be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Elsa. These are boots on the ground.
That's right.
And we certainly need to support them in their efforts, and certainly to be able to have a livable wage and to be able to live and support their families. So I've always been on board with SEIU, and I will continue. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Ma'am. Thank you. I'll be safe. Next.
Olga Villegas. To be followed by Maury Bird Lucas.
Buenas tardes. Disculpen que me pongo nerviosa. Mi nombre es Olga Villegas. Soy una trabajadora. Soy una trabajadora del Centro de Convenciones, GRB. Estoy orgullosa de mantener este centro limpio, listo para recibir asistentes.
My name is Olga Villegas, and I work as a cleaner housekeeper at the Georgia Brown Convention Center. I'm proud to keep our convention center in clean and welcoming place.
Pero con un salario de 15 por hora no podemos sobrevivir.
But I cannot survive on my salary of $15 an hour.
Para mí el salario significa un ingreso de $2,000 al mes. La mitad de mi salario es solo para pagar renta.
For me, that adds up to about $2,000 a month. I use half of my salary to pay my rent.
Y todos mis biles. Esto significa que cada mes no puedo comprar las medicinas que necesito. Necesito decidir si compro medicina o pago un bill o pongo en mi tarjeta de crédito endeudándome más.
That means I have nothing left to pay for my medicine I need. Every month, I have to choose. Do I risk going with my medication? Do I miss one of my bills? Do I put on my credit card and go deeper in debt?
No podemos sobrevivir con todos. No podemos sobrevivir con estos salarios. Los trabajadores de banquete, del GRB y los trabajadores del hotel recibieron aumento y nosotros necesitamos un aumento también.
We cannot survive with our current salaries. Food workers in GRB and hotel workers already got a raise, and we need one as well.
Necesitamos que ustedes apoyen este favor de un aumento salarial para los trabajadores del GRB, todos los trabajadores contratados por la ciudad.
We need your support on higher pays at the GRB and for all city contractor workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ya es segunda vez que venimos y no hemos recibido respuesta.
This is the second time we're here and we have not heard a response. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Councilman Martinez, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. Olga, nomás quiero decirle que gracias por llegando hoy y compartiendo las palabras. Compartiendo con todos los que están aquí es importante porque nosotros podemos a recibirlo y entonces a darlo al Houston First, ¿verdad? Que está encargado con este contrato. Y lo que expliqué con Elsa es que aquí estoy con ustedes. No va muy de rato que tuvimos el mismo conversación con los que trabajaron en el Hilton. Y más importante es ustedes teniendo un pago de un trabajo, no muchos, 2 o 3 trabajos, para que se puedan tener una vida con la familia también, para que puedas también involucrar nuestra familia en una ciudad que todos puedan compartir y todos puedan vivir bien también. Entonces, gracias por venir. Aquí estamos con ustedes.
Muchas gracias.
Maury Bird Lucas. to be followed by Marion Wright.
Good afternoon. I'm Mari Bird-Lucas, a constituent in District C. Thank you, council members Kamen, Salinas, and Pollard. Thank you for your leadership in working to follow the Constitution and to keep Houstonians safe. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for voting to stay true to the Constitution and limit HPD's cooperation with ICE once a lawful stop is over. Special shout out to my fellow Houstonians for standing up and demanding action by our elected city officials. Governor Abbott now threatens to defund police and emergency services. Shame. I expect you, Mayor Whitmire, and council members to stand strong and fight Abbott's overreach. Fight to defend our Houston laws and work to keep all Houstonians safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Marion Wright.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marion Wright, and I'm here to ask all of y'all to stand together to figure out how to make Houston safer. Is Houston safer with the ordinance that was just passed? We just lost $110 million. Is that safer? Is it? Did the ordinance actually ever change anything? According to Councilmember Martinez, he said the ordinance really didn't do much. More has to be done. What has to be done? How can we make Houston safer? What do we need to do? When someone comes in with a mission, and they have a mission, and their mission in 3 weeks has actually caused a rift between Houston Police, John Whitmire, and any relationship we maybe had with Austin, does that make sense? Is that the direction we want to go in? Is there a way that we can all come together and meet and speak and figure out something? Could this have been done without passing an ordinance? If we turned around and asked HPD if y'all would report to us quarterly, would they have done that? Is anything different? No, the only thing that's different right now than what it was is now we have a giant spotlight and everyone's turning around and it's causing division. It's not causing unity. It's not bringing us together. So we have a choice. Houston has a choice. Do we want to come together and figure out how to keep Houstonians safer? Or do we want to go ahead and push someone's mission? Someone who, is this helping Houston? Is it? Ask yourself that. Really ask yourself that. Thank you.
Councilor, ma'am.
Right.
Ma'am. Councilor Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. We did ask ourselves that this previous week, and we voted on an ordinance that passed overwhelmingly to keep Houstonians safe. They got bipartisan support to keep Houstonians safe. That item was vetted through city legal. There was shown to be no conflict with state or federal law. This was something that we had talked about amongst ourselves around the horseshoe. This is something that we received public testimony from Houstonians. This is something that we received calls, emails, and letters about. There have been protests and outward appearances of activations of individuals saying that they wanted to see something, some action from this council, from this city, and we did that. And the consequence of that seems to be that there's leadership in Austin that wants to now intervene on matters that we have already settled here in Houston. I am to the belief that for those who supported this item should remain supportive of this item. We should remain Houston strong. We should remain a city that is welcoming, a city that is diverse, a city that is fair. All the things that we hold our hat on, it comes down to our actions now, and our actions have to speak louder than our words. And so all of the assertions that you have just put forward, we have already discussed. And we are a safe city when people feel safe. And people have come to us asking us to put forth policy that will make them feel safe. We can't determine what the state level or leadership is going to do with their funds. I would hope that they would not defund the police. I would hope that they would make sure that resources are available for law enforcement and first responders. We want that. But we don't have control over every dollar from the state level. We can control Houston matters. And that's what we have done this past week, and that's what we continue to do each week that we come forward on your behalf. So thank you for coming forward, and I appreciate your input and your engagement, and I look forward to continuing the discussion going forward. Thank you very much.
May I respond?
Now, let Evan Shabazz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really trying to hold my mule, but I'm just going to say, are we safer with our police officers standing on the side of the road waiting on ICE that may or may not come? I don't think we're safer. And it really disturbs me that we are elected officials here, and we're closer to the people than the people that are trying to stop us from doing our jobs. And we listen to the people. And that ordinance is legal. And so to say that we should be strong-armed into doing what another person or persons think that we should do, because they're not supported by their legislature. They are coming forth as individuals in their capacity to tell us what we need to be doing. We were very, very thoughtful in this process. And I am one that will continue to stand to support that. And what else is it but hypocrisy that you want to take money from people in public safety? That's exactly what it is. But yet you say that you are concerned about public safety, but we're going to put your arm behind your back and take the money back to stop you from being able to support those that they say that they support, our men and women in blue. So I don't need a response from you. If anybody else does, then carry on.
Thank you.
Hold on, Councilmember Flickinger.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Flickinger.
Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, thank you. I do. First of all, when this came up, we're sitting here hearing that we spoke to Houstonians. It was never brought to the super neighborhoods. It was never brought to the neighborhoods. Someone came in with a mission, and they claimed that it was a mission, and that's what it went through. If we all would have come together and spoken, we would have come up with something that possibly would have been better, but we don't know if we could have done that or not, because someone came in with a mission, and the mission was to put a spotlight. As they laugh at me, they look at each other and laugh. It's not funny. It's really not amusing, and it's not funny. You might think it's funny, but it's not. This is affecting all Houstonians. It is. And everyone deserves to be heard. What happened when y'all have the public sessions at night is y'all turn around and y'all have these public sessions at night, and there are calls that go out to certain groups to come here, and they organize, and they come out, and they speak. You're not hearing from all Houstonians. You're hearing from select groups, and that's what you're hearing. And if that's how the city wants to run, so be it. I don't know why we can't slow down, listen, come up with a solution that would work, and do it in a way that it's not harming Houston, where it's not putting friction in between groups. I don't understand it. Did you have a problem with HPD and how they were conducting business and what they were doing beforehand? Did y'all? And I like you, Councilmember Shabazz, I do, and I'd like to sit down and talk to you privately, if you will. Okay? I mean, but let's talk, that's all. Let's talk instead of fight. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Dustin Reinders. To be followed by Jennifer Canales Perez.
Greetings, Mayor Whitmire and council members. My name is Dustin Reinders. I'm the legal director at the Texas Civil Rights Project. I'm happy to be with you here today as someone who's practiced civil rights and constitutional rights law in the city of Houston for over 20 years. And I'm here to tell you one thing I've learned in that time is that the surest way to lose a fight with the state is to refuse to fight. But when you fight, you often win. And the issue we have before us is so incredibly important. Like other major cities in Texas, the city of Houston, thanks to many of you, recently took a step in the right direction to clarify the role that local law enforcement plays in collaborating with federal immigration enforcement. The action comes after several reports of HPD officers violating the constitutional and Fourth Amendment rights of Houstonians. Our community rightfully demanded action because none of us want to live in a city where police detain us without cause. That is what the Fourth Amendment is about and what it's always been about. And the action you took helped stop that violation. So you cured the illegal actions that were happening. Once we implement this ordinance. To resolve those issues, the first part of your ordinance clarifies that officers can temporarily detain an individual only as long as reasonably necessary to complete the legitimate purpose of the initial stop or investigation, and that an ICE administrative warrant is civil in nature and alone does not justify a stop, arrest, or continued detention. That requirement just ensures compliance with the Fourth Amendment. That means if you don't implement your ordinance, you are forcing HPD to continue the march policy that continues to violate the Fourth Amendment rights of Houstonians. That's not how I want to live. It's not how other people want to live. So to answer the question that was just asked, do you have a problem with what was happening before? For me, the answer is absolutely. I have a problem with what was happening before and what is still happening until we implement that ordinance. Conveniently, we're located so close to a courthouse with a lot of good elected Houston judges. You can request a TRO to stop those funds from being cut. You cannot lose state funding for refusing to violate the constitutional rights of Houstonians. You have good arguments to make. I hope you show boldness and make those arguments. I'll also just note that there's been good success when cities fight and request TROs. Yes, thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few questions as an attorney in the civil rights space, leading a civil rights legal organization. One, is it your understanding of the ordinance that was passed that if somebody poses a public safety risk, HPD is still able to detain them as necessary?
That's right, because the language in the ordinance specifically says only as long as reasonably necessary to complete the legitimate purpose of the initial stop or investigation. So if someone's a risk at that moment, an officer can arrest them for any number of reasons, right? Depending on the kind of risk they're posing.
Right, and thank you for that clarification, because I think there's been a lot of information and misinformation out there about what this ordinance does and doesn't do in terms of clarifying what is already in the law. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What we passed is already law, both in the state of Texas and the city of Houston and in the United States.
That's right, and if you'd like me to clarify on one point there,
please.
One of the biggest protections in the Fourth Amendment is that the warrant is supposed to be reviewed by a neutral person. That's usually a judge, right? So the difference between an administrative warrant is it means it was never reviewed by anyone. Well, the Fourth Amendment wouldn't have been required if England had neutral folks before they were going into people's houses, right? Before that they were conducting search, seizures, and arrests. The whole purpose of the Fourth Amendment is it's a hallmark of our democracy to have that kind of protection from the government terrorizing ordinary folks without any proof that's reviewed by a neutral person, a judge. And so none of these administrative warrants have been reviewed by a judge. None of them have been considered by a neutral person. So to allow them to have the impact of allowing arrest completely allows the government to terrorize ordinary Houstonians.
I understood, and again, I'm focused on the local public safety resources, keeping the community safe, and the intent I think we all have around the horseshoe of public safety, and the integrity of the rule of law, and the respect for the law. my last question, I think you briefly covered it, but to be clear, what are, in your opinion, some of the options that the city has other than just bowing out and saying whatever you want to the state?
Well, I'm a big fan of requesting a TRO, so the city could have its legal department file a request for a restraining order. You could walk to the court from here. You could get a hearing tomorrow. You could have it in effect by tomorrow night. Good people over there. So, yeah, that's what I'd do if I was representing the city, but I'm not offering to represent the city, represent individual civil rights plaintiffs, but yeah.
Thank you.
Councilman Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for coming forward. And everything you laid out, I think, is something that we all have the ability to review and to vet ourselves as professionals. On this horseshoe, including the city attorney, there are 7 attorneys who, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the attorneys except for one saw this as a legal item and voted for it as such. And this has now come down to a legal question. And I think you're right. I do think it would be prudent for the city to look at taking legal measure to get an answer on that. And a temporary restraining order could be something that could be very useful. At least it could give us some clarification. We have legal opinions here. We have a city attorney who's made his legal review that we've trusted and we've voted upon that legal review. Then we have folks at the state level that have a different legal opinion, right? But it's all opinion. And so you would think in the best interest of the city, when we have city ordinances that are passed by city council with an overwhelming majority, that we would use every tool in the toolbox that we have available to us for legal recourse. And I want to thank you for your suggestion.
Councilman Flickinger.
Thank you. So if we got a TRO, if we win, we could prevent the state from cutting off the funds that have already been allocated, correct?
Yeah, if you win, that would be correct. And of course, you go through the appeals process. And I'll say the threats from our state, there are active efforts, as I think many of us know, at our state and federal level to consolidate power, and consolidating power in a way that keeps those closest to their constituents from acting, defending them, having a role in our government still. And the threats won't stop. So the question is, do you stand up, and on what issues? And I'm not to suggest that every single issue matters enough that you go to the courthouse.
Okay, so if we get this, we win the TRO, it goes to court, we win, we get that money. We got a couple $100 million last session for a number of things. Here's one example. I believe we got $50 million to replace the pumps at the Lynchburg pump station. Is that correct, Mayor? Is that $100 million? Would the state next session have to give us money like that? Or would they be able to say, no, we don't like what you've done, we're not going to give you money?
Political processes are fickle, but I'll say...
So they'd be able to say no?
They could, but we have a lot of history of cities that have challenged the state and have been able to sustain their cities and continue to receive funding from the state.
I don't think we've had a lot of history of cities getting a couple $100 million in one session.
Yeah, that's something I understand you have to consider.
Councilor Evans Shabbat.
Thank you, and thank you so much for coming. I guess the bottom line is the person that created this problem cares nothing about the Constitution. Yet, therefore, they have no problem with violating the rights of people who are impacted by this. And, I was asked, do I trust the police? Well, yeah, I trust my parents, but they don't make all my decisions. And so, I kind of see in line that some people are taking a victory walk. But I want to say 5,400 police union officers, we've been threatened, who are free thinking. I think I'll take my chances on the 50 organizations that do support the ordinance. So let's do the math. And so certainly, again, I love people that come with solutions, and it's up to the mayor where we go in terms of that solution after we meet on Friday to make a determination as to whether we will continue to stand. Thank you.
Do you mind if I follow up on something you said? You know, I trust the police so much that I believe we should give them discretion about whether to call ICE in the first place on an administrative warrant. So.
Councilman Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to clarify that the money that has been, I guess, used as a tool for us to reconsider this $100 million, those are state dollars. They have the discretion to do what they want with their money. If the state wants to defund the police over a civil matter, that's their decision. Those grant dollars that are under the discretion of the governor's office, that's his discretion, his determination and his decision on where those dollars go. For flood mitigation, parks, or anything else, that's his decision. So if he wants to go on the record of defunding police, he wants to go on the record of not giving the city funds out of the next legislative session, that's not a decision from this council. We want all the resources and money available for our officers and our first responders. I would hope he would not go through with those threats to actually defund the police of $100 million. That makes absolutely no sense when you prioritize public safety and you want to keep communities safe. But we have no authority over dollars at the state level that come from a grant or from the legislative session. So I would hope that anyone at the state level would reconsider taking back or using any dollars to deappropriate for our law enforcement and first responders, because those dollars are necessary. We want them, but we have no control over whether those dollars get allocated or not. That will be the sole discretion of the governor's office.
Councilman Flickinger.
Is the governor saying we can't spend the money on law enforcement, or is he just saying we can't spend the state's money?
To my understanding, based on the letter that was presented, it was a notice that if we do not repeal our current ordinance that we passed last week, that he would be withdrawing or demanding us to refund grant dollars that come from his office that would go towards public safety initiatives.
So we're still free to spend our money?
We can spend our money from...
So it's not requiring any defunding of the police. It's just saying you're not going to fund it with our dollars.
It is defunding dollars that would go towards the police that come from his office that our city depends on. If you deallocate those dollars, or you no longer fund them, or you ask for a reimbursement of those dollars, well, you're defunding.
We're still free to spend our money.
You're defunding.
Councilman Flickinger, obviously a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. He closed our funding yesterday at 3 o'clock. It's not a threat. It happened yesterday. HPD is currently recalculating their services, addressing overtime and other matters. We must have the funding for FIFA to prevent human trafficking, and I could give you, which I'll be glad to share, the funding that comes out of Austin, as well as the federal government. So this is the first step by the government, because we signed with his office an agreement of certification for the grant money. You were listing legislative matters, and of course that'll be next session. But this is not an imaginary city. This is really Houston, and we depend on the state, the federal, and to some extent the county as partners. It's not a threat. The gentleman's legal opinion is just that, a legal opinion. The governor controls the purse strings from his criminal justice office. He has a different opinion. His team has a different opinion. So you can play chicken if you want. My responsibility, our responsibility is the safety of Houston. I get calls on the weekend for extra police duty, and we use this money for that. So the public, everyone's district at large is urging us, more patrol, more equipment. We're fixing to have hundreds of thousands of guests. We have to provide safety in the city of Houston. This is not a time to play politics.
I've been trying to provide
the bottom line is,
for my district.
Excuse me, Councilman, I didn't interrupt you. The bottom line is the governor means business. I told members this. I was actually told by one of the proposals that if we lost funding, she would rescind the proposal. Many members heard that. So all I'm saying is I wasn't going to engage our guests because, quite frankly, we've already lost the money. We can't go to get a TRO. And furthermore, if you're in state court, I hope you've looked at the state Supreme Court makeup. This is serious business affecting every Houstonian and our region. It was public safety this time. In a couple of days, it'll be public health, park money, TxDOT's participation. They told us this, they meant it, and so now's the time for us to do what is responsible and not play politics. Houston's safety depends on it. We do not have local monies for this replacement of grant money. So, you know, I've been sitting here being tolerant, but it's a time to quit playing political games and having outside sources come in and give us their legal opinion, in all due respect. A legal opinion is just that. So thank you for your questions. Thank you, sir. Salinas.
Mayor, I think it's important that we lay out some of the facts underlying all the rhetoric. And I think first and foremost, we need to stop thinking that there is a debate among council and the mayor or council members. The debate is between the city of Houston and the state government. They are the ones that are trying to punish the city for doing the right thing. And we need to stop the falsehood that the choices are repeal the ordinance or accept the pooling of $110 million of funding. That is a false choice. There is a third option that has been laid out, and we should absolutely take it, which is tomorrow, the city attorney could walk over to the Harris County Courthouse and file a temporary restraining order and a declaratory judgment, and that same day, we could get a judgment from the court that says the state cannot pool funding. The governor cannot supersede an order by the court. And the court would say that they cannot pull funding and they can make a determination that our ordinance is lawful. The ordinance that you voted for, that our city attorney deemed lawful, let's stand by our city attorney, let's stand by our vote, but we can do this tomorrow. And if the court rules against us, then we have the information we need to consider a repeal on Friday. But there is no reason whatsoever not to go to court tomorrow to see if we can get a ruling by a court to protect the Constitution, the constitutional rights of Houstonians. It would be a grave mistake to do anything else. The governor's letter says we have until April 20th to make a decision. So we can go to court tomorrow. The next day, we could even go to court on Monday and get a ruling from the court. And if we lose that ruling, then I agree, Mayor, we have to make sure that we protect Houstonians. But we're not there yet. We have the opportunity to get a court to verify what all of us know to be true, which is we honored the Constitution, and the governor's attempt to not honor the constitutional rights of Houstonians is wrong. And as Houston's leadership, we need to stand up to that.
I respectfully disagree, and I meant to correct something last week when you went out of council and said it's ticket and release. You know that the law requires you to look for warrants, whether it's from Montgomery County, Travis County, or even ICE. Then you look at the administrative warrant and you see if there's another outstanding warrant maybe a murder charge from Honduras, and additional facts that makes up part of that administrative warrant that you mentioned routinely, as the gentleman did. Surely, as knowledgeable as you are, you realize the courts, certainly as you go as far as the state Supreme Court, are not going to favor our position based on history and their previous rulings.
Mayor, that is not what I said.
We are an instrument of state government.
Mayor, that is
and the
inaccurate.
governor controls his funding. So it's really not a legal issue as it is what the governor wants to do with his grant money that the legislature's given to him to use his discretion. And that's what's been withdrawn. In the time that you're claiming we ought to go to be to court, we're making Houston unsafe every minute that we deny HPD their resources. You know it, and I know it. This is too important to play politics.
Mayor, what you just said is false. I did not make such a statement. All you have to do is read the ordinance to understand not only where I stand, but where you stand and this council stands, which is we are honoring the Constitution. And it is not true that it is simply the will of the governor. The governor cannot supersede the Constitution, and that is what a court of law could decide tomorrow if we have the will to do the right thing and stand up for the constitutional rights of Houstonians. There is nothing to lose by filing a temporary restraining order and a motion for declaratory judgment with the court. Nothing to lose. The governor's letter says we have until April 20th. Let's take that fight. Let's stand with our city attorney. Let's stand by the vote that you made, Mayor. I would proudly stand with you and walk that motion over to the court and have it heard so we can make sure that a third party can decide. A judge who is versed in this. But it is wrong to say that it's simply a decision by the governor. That is wrong. It is a decision by the court to say whether the governor can supersede the constitutional rights of Houstonians.
Councilmember, we have already lost our funding. Every minute that we do not
not what the
address
governor
the
said in
governor's
his letter.
concern, we're leaving Houston unsafe.
That is not what the governor said in his letter, Mayor.
Councilmember, it's irrefutable. We lost our money at 3 o'clock yesterday. The accounts have been closed. Services are not being provided today that were served yesterday by HPD. Irrefutable. So we can drag this out in the court, and you're a very capable lawyer.
One day,
you bring
Mayor.
your test, you bring your expert witness, but that's not going to change the
One
state
day,
of Texas.
Mayor.
We only have one governor and one fund of grant.
We have one constitution,
I
and I'm
understand.
asking for
And
one
it's
day.
not-
I'm asking for one day to go to
I
court.
respectfully disagree.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to be respectful of the fact that we have many speakers that are coming. I do want to clarify we are not, as a city, the instrument of the state. We are the instrument of the city of Houston and the people of Houston. That being said, I do believe that colleagues had requested a list of the grants that have been suspended or frozen. We have yet, to my knowledge, seen that list. And the reason why that list is important, one, I believe council has the right to that information. I think that's fair as we continue this conversation. There has been statements made that some of the funding pertains to FIFA. That is federal funding that the governor does not necessarily have the authority to freeze. There is a lot of nuance when it comes to all of the different types of funding, so I'm making a respectful request. If we could please have a list of the grants that we have been told have been suspended, that would be extremely helpful during these conversations.
Thank you. The FIFA money did come through the governor's office, and it's on the list of monies that's been frozen. The monies have been frozen. It's irrefutable. It's documented. Services that need resources are not being funded this afternoon.
And Mayor, I understand that some of the FIFA money, while it comes through the state, comes from the federal government. There's different parameters. So, and I know you understand that, and you're very nuanced in that. So again, if we could please have a list, and I see Stephen David right here.
And I hope you also know that surely Austin is talking to the federal government. So we can play chicken, we can gamble with Houston's vitality and our safety, but it's too important to do so, in my opinion. And I'm certain Houstonians support that concern about gambling with their safety.
Councilor Pollard.
Next.
Jennifer Canales Perez, to be followed by David Donati.
Good afternoon, council members, Mayor Whitmire. My name is Jennifer Canales Pelaez, and I'm a policy attorney and strategist with the Immigrant Legal Center, Resource Center. But I am also a native Houstonian. And like many in our diverse city of Houston, I am also the daughter of immigrants who came from El Salvador fleeing the Civil War in the 80s. At 11 years old, I discovered that my father was in deportation proceedings, and at that age, I advocated for his case to the president at the time, George W. Bush. Unfortunately, when I was 14 years old, my father was deported and my family was permanently separated. For almost a decade, I worked and volunteered with nonprofit organizations representing children, adults, and survivors of gender-based violence. Most sought asylum because they fled incredible persecution and violence. Please hear me when I say the fear that a simple interaction with law enforcement will permanently separate them from their families is real. It pains me to think of the fear and anxiety that our community members are feeling right now. And despite the governor's letter that states that this ordinance violates SB 4, it does not. Rather, it ensures that HPD does not violate the constitutional rights of Houstonians. And trust me, that was happening. How do I know? I saw those reports. I actually sent some of those reports to some of you on this horseshoe. As a reminder, everyone, no matter their immigration status, has constitutional rights. And despite the good intentions of the March 11th directive, rubber stamping potential Fourth Amendment violations by allowing HPD to wait 30 minutes for ICE to come opens the door to costly litigation. Council members, Mayor, last week some of you stated that this ordinance is consistent with state and federal law. Nothing has changed. I urge you, council members, Mayor Whitmire, not to repeal this ordinance, to stand with all Houstonians and fight for our community. To the 12 members who stood with Houstonians and voted to pass the immigration ordinance, I commend you. And thank you for your bravery. Thank you for listening to us. And this is a great first step. And we hope that you continue to push for solutions that will protect all Houstonians. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilor Carter has a procedural motion. Councilmember Carter has a procedural motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to add Doug Griffith to follow David Donati.
In favor say yes. Those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, councilors. I walked in here during the proclamations, and it was quite remarkable to see everything that our city has to offer, the things that make us great. And as I was walking in, there was a speech where the speaker extolled us to choose courage over comfort, to defend dignity, and to abhor exclusion. I understand that the choices here are immense and profound. However, it is an entirely man-made crisis. Let's be precise about what the ordinance that you passed does. It preserves full compliance with Texas law. It mandates full compliance with ICE detainers, and it codifies what the Fourth Amendment already requires, that a civil administrative immigration warrant, which is not signed by a judge, not based on probable cause of a crime, but issued by an ICE officer, cannot by itself justify detaining someone during a traffic stop. That's it. That's the ordinance. Now read the governor's letter. And I know, Mr. Mayor, I take the concern that it doesn't matter what my legal opinion is, it matters what the governor's opinion is, but we have a rule of law in this country, and we have relationships between the city and the state, and we elected y'all to represent us. And there are indeed limitations on what Governor Abbott can compel. Those limitations come from the grants themselves, but more importantly, they come from the United States Constitution. The governor's letter says that the ordinance prohibits HPD from cooperating with ICE. It does not do that. The ordinance includes an explicit provision stating that it shall not be construed to prohibit or materially limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. The governor is describing an ordinance that does not exist. If anyone is playing politics, it is the governor who is threatening to withhold $110 million from public safety accounts. Yes, indeed, defunding the police. Let's be clear about what an ICE administrative warrant is. It is not signed by a judge. It is not supported by probable cause. As this council and Mr. Mayor, you well know, last year the administration loaded 700,000 of these into the National Criminal Warrant Database. That created a huge administrability problem, to say nothing of a constitutional problem, for our local law enforcement, who have to figure out the boundaries between what may we do pursuant to these and what must we not do in order to comply with the United States Constitution. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, Supreme Court precedent, and the plain text of the Fourth Amendment make clear these administrative warrants, which are not issued by a neutral magistrate, do not authorize a local official to detain someone. They are not probable cause of a crime. The governor is trying to blur that line, and the stakes here are actually enormously high. Thank you very much. I stand open for any questions.
Thank you. Next.
Doug Griffin. To be followed by Carolyn Rivera.
Council members, we have had a really good working relationship with almost every single one of y'all for years. 4 years. Except for Ms. Salinas, who's new. And I hope at some point we'll get to have that relationship. Which this is the reason it dumbfounds me that none of y'all called me prior to enacting this. The only person I spoke with was the mayor. And I honestly believe y'all duped him. But that's on me. That's what I believe. This is nothing more than you playing politics. Councilmember Pollard, Councilmember Salinas, Councilmember Kamen, y'all are playing politics with our officers. That's what you're doing. Our officers are out there doing a job every freaking day, working their butts off to protect this city. We had over 2 million contacts with citizens last year, less than 250 citizen complaints. We had over 2 million contacts with citizens last year, and we only had 74 incidents where we had ICE detainers on someone and we turned them over to ICE. Don't tell me we don't have bigger issues in this city. We can't get our water cheap. We cannot get our heavy trash picked up. We can't get a fair housing market. We got all kinds of issues that city council should be dealing with, and no, we're worried about this. 74 traffic stops last year. It's not about politics for us. It's about making sure our people are safe. You don't know what those warrants are for, ma'am. You have no clue what those warrants are for. That guy could have beat his wife 3 or 4 times, and they filed on him and sent him back. That may be what that administrative warrant is for. You don't know. And Ms. Shabazz, see, that's it right there. You keep talking about how you support law enforcement. Don't ever let me catch you say that again, because you, last week, you said we were racist.
You are really out of order.
I may be. You can speak. See, that's the attitude right there that you give people that live in this city. And you sit there last week, your comments were that we were racially profiling people. I take offense to that, and 5,400 officers take offense to that. So don't sit there and say you support us, because I disagree with you. Now, again, I don't want to play politics here. I want to do our job. I want our officers to be protected out there. If something happens and we don't take somebody in on one of these warrants and they go and kill somebody tomorrow or rape or rob somebody, guess what? We're on the hook, and so is the city of Houston, because y'all are the one that enacted this ordinance. I'm asking you to please consider, get politics out of this, quit chasing about national politics because we don't care,
Your time
and
has
do a
expired.
job. Thank you.
Just a second, Doug. You want to comment?
Oh, yes, I do.
Please do.
Okay.
First and foremost, I was elected by the people, and you applied for a job.
No, I
so
didn't
that
apply.
means that we have a different mandate. Your behavior, I want to tell you to your face, was disrespectful last week. I'm surprised you didn't kick the bench. But certainly, then you get on social media and you threaten. I didn't get the police support when I ran the first 2 times. So
Well,
I'm
don't
good.
worry about it in the future either.
It's okay, because you're one person and you don't even represent the pack. Okay? And you have 54 members who think for themselves.
5,400.
I'm not really sure that they want to be immigration officers. That's not what they were hired to do.
And they're not.
So certainly, do I need a comment after? Did I comment every time you said something?
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not. But certainly, your behavior has been really inappropriate, and I hope the other officers don't act and speak as you do, because that may be why we have a problem here. So anyway, we're good, but I'm glad you came, because I don't talk behind people's backs.
Oh, neither do I. That's why I'm here talking to your face.
To you, just to let you know that your behavior is totally out of line, and
your comments about our officers are totally offline.
By more people than hired you, okay? So you have a great day, but what you're doing here by telling us what we should and shouldn't do is totally out of line.
Well, maybe you should have contacted us.
But you know what else your job is? Your job is to do what we approve. So you get busy.
Oh, don't worry. My history speaks for itself.
Get busy.
Time's up. Councilmember Salinas. I'm sorry, do you want the witness?
Yes, come back, Mr. Griffith.
Say, Doug.
He might push you down. Be careful.
See, comments like that.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Comments like
Go
that.
ahead, ma'am.
So, Mr. Griffin, I want to clarify again some facts. I have repeatedly told you to call my office, and I'm happy to sit down for a meeting. I have never, let me finish my comments, and if you want to respond, you're welcome to. You have never taken me up on that offer, and I stands here to continue today. Call my office. I'm happy to have a conversation and explain the ordinance. I wish you would have taken me up on it rather than making all those statements so I could have explained all of your misunderstandings regarding the ordinance. Second, you keep talking about how we're putting all of our officers at risk regarding discretion. Your officers exercise discretion every single day. Every single day they make determinations about whether to issue a ticket or to arrest someone. You're not here complaining to us about that because you trust your officers just like we trust your officers to exercise discretion effectively. We are here to empower them, not disempower them. Third, you made a comment to Houston Public Media telling us to shut up and run the city.
Yeah.
We are running the city. We're ensuring that HPD follows the Constitution, and I hope you will do everything in your power to ensure that our officers follow the Constitution. And lastly, you accuse us of playing politics. Today, your office released a cartoon of myself, Councilmember Kamen, and Councilmember Pollard. Is that not playing politics? I have not released a cartoon of you, sir.
Feel free.
Do you think do you think we should reduce our discourse to cartoons of one another?
Yes, some city council members thought it was funny, but that's a different story.
I would expect better of the police. I would expect better of the police officers union, and I bet your members would as well. Nothing further.
Thank you, Councilmember Flickinger.
Thank you, Doug. You said there was over 2 million stops last year. Is that correct?
2 million interactions with citizens.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how many of those resulted in a deportation by ICE?
74.
And were there more than 74 ICE warrants that came up as hits?
Yes, there were another 98 that were released because the Immigration and Customs Enforcement did not want them.
So the majority of the time, when there was an ICE warrant that was found, ICE said, no, we're not going to deport these individuals. We don't want to take custody of them.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Pollard.
Thank you, Mayor. Doug, you're right. You've had a good relationship, I can say, with me, and we don't agree on this issue. And we have talked over the phone, and we just don't agree. But I will say that there has to be a level, though, of respect for the council. That's an elected body and elected members who are voted upon to be in these seats to represent their constituents. Everyone has different backgrounds, different perspectives, different ideology, different parties. We're always not going to agree on everything. But I think the manner in which we communicate is extremely important because we are all in leadership positions. The entire city is looking at us as leaders. And that's why I try not to take things personal. From the cartoons to any of the rhetoric that's out there. But I also respect your leadership position and wouldn't come at you a certain way. And I am asking on behalf of my colleagues who don't need me to come to their defense, but specifically my Spelman sister, that there is a level of decorum that I think is due, and that we speak and communicate to each other respectfully and as professionals, and understand that we're always not going to agree on things. You have your assignment to do, and so do we. And so I do want to thank you for coming forward, but I do want to make those points clear. And I hope going forward that the discourse does not become divisive just because we disagree, but we can do things that we feel is in the best interest of our city, even if we're not always on the same page. Thank you.
And to be fair,
Shabazz.
to be fair, ma'am, you're right. I shouldn't have addressed you like that at council. But the way I did, I just apologize. The way you made comments last week, it was very disparaging of my officers, and I took it personal. I really did. That's why I got up and left, because I was so mad. I walked out of here.
Okay.
So
the mayor has recognized. I accept. But I just want to say, when you talk about playing politics, what are you doing when you go on social media saying that you're not going to support anybody that runs for office? Is that not playing politics?
No,
what you're also doing, you're muddying the waters. Nobody is saying that people will not be arrested if there's a criminal warrant. That is not what we're talking about here. And then while we're counting the stops, George Floyd was one stop too many.
Okay, time is run. Next.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
I can go, right?
It's a wrap.
Sir?
I can leave, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carolyn Rivera,
He got to check that, though. You can't,
to be followed by Broderick Grissett.
Thank you. I'm Carolyn Rivera from Setigas. I'm here about the flood zone change. We went from no flood zone to a 100-year flood zone. Why? For years, the city refused to update and maintain our drainage system with ad valorem funds designated for drainage infrastructure, which could save lives. And then you take the funds and do what you want to do with them. There is more money, I believe, available for drainage than you know what to do with. So you do what you want to do with it. I suggest you stop saying that you have no funds and do the right thing. I may die in city gas from draining in flood waters, but because of your unfairness and lack of justice over the years, not just this group, other groups like you ignored us like we are not human beings. Yes, and I hope you have no peace until you focus on correcting our drainage problems.
Ma'am, Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Rivera, thank you for coming in and sharing your concerns about the flooding. I know that's a major issue within District B, but I can say that we have quite a few projects, SWAT projects, that's happening right now. And so we will be following up with NOC. We'll be having a conversation with them to give them an update on the ditch maintenance ordinance, as well as the SWAT projects, just all the work. We have quite a lot of drainage projects that's happening in the northeast side of town. So we just need to sit down and go over these projects with you, and then we'll discuss the new map, the flood maps. It's not saying that we're now in the flood zone. We were already in the flood zone. It's just the updated
I
map.
know.
And so
I know
we'll sit down and discuss that with you. But thank you again for your continued advocacy for the area. I really appreciate you. Okay.
And may I say something in
Go ahead.
respect to what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
We're always promised something that's never done and never completed, and always an excuse
Yes,
for
ma'am.
years.
I'm
So
with you.
I will believe it when I see it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Next.
Broderick Grissett. Joseph Ballard from Humble, to be followed by Felicia Galloway Kizzy, also of Humble.
Can I get these to Here you go. Both sides. Okay. That's for this side, that's for this side. I apologize for your sister because he ran me hot, being disrespectful. Can't let Abbott try to take over the city of Houston. That ain't what I come down here for. That's another story. I woke up Sunday morning, this past Easter, couldn't even leave out my driveway. I've been there 30 years. I live in the back of the community. I'm trying to figure out where all these cars is coming from. It don't take me but 2 seconds to get from my driveway to the front of my community. You got all these cars coming through the neighborhood trying to get to the church. When I moved out there, it was number woods. Now we got the federal disposable company that need to be checked on because they out of compliance, mud everywhere. And now you got these new warehouses with Amazon. They got another 10 warehouses coming up. They got another 10 warehouses coming up behind us. When I moved there, was woods. It took me 3 hours to get from my house to 59. If you look at those pictures, I got plenty of pictures. If it ain't the trucks, it's Amazon at 3 o'clock in the morning when people going to work. On Sundays, it's the church, the lighthouse. I've been down here before, Mayor, about this same issue. We pay taxes. We got to keep our community clean and nice. That's where we live. This church is disrespectful. The trucking company is disrespectful. Now we got Amazon. Then we finna have 10 more. So, and then you got HPD officers working at the church, stopping our community members from going to church or even coming out the neighborhood, wanting to arrest them, want to bully them. Come on, man. We've been here. We was here first. Look at the pictures. We cannot get out of our community. You got the church on Sunday, you got Amazon every morning, and you got the trucking company every day. I can show you pictures in my phone where I'm talking about mud. I'm talking about the whole street just muddy. We got to replace our flowers down to beautify our community with dust and mud every day. Hey, we in Houston, we pay city taxes, utilities, whatever.
Your time has
expired. But we ain't humble. Something's got to be done. Our next step, we're going to have to file a lawsuit. We need to have a meeting with the church. We need to have a meeting with Amazon, whoever own that, and the trucking company. They are disrespectful at their church. I don't want to hear nothing about what they talk to the pastor, whatever. They trying to get their dollar. We trying to get out to enjoy our life, our Sundays, or our everyday life. It's pitiful, man. I got pictures to show it.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Ballard, for coming in. And I know this is something that you've been
I'm sick of it.
On my
I'm
phone,
sick of it.
on the phone and calling my office and about the traffic. And I did reach out. I told you I reached out to Pastor Keon, and we did meet with the church members, a couple of his team members in January, to look at expanding the road and exploring partnerships with the other developments that's happening around there. And so I did let him know about Easter Sunday, and Pastor Keon sent a couple of representatives here that's in the audience that's going to address the council about this issue. And of course, after they address council, I would love to create, have a conversation with the community, as well as the church members, the leadership of the church, to see what we can come up with to mitigate this issue. I know it's frustrating, but we're going to have to come up with a way to coexist.
There's already a 4-lane street. Mm-hmm. If you look at those pictures and the pictures in my phone, I had to go down the media just to get to the freeway. When I got to the church, I was at a standstill. Mm-hmm. The police out there lollygagging on their phones or whatever. You had traffic from Rankin Road to JFK on the westbound side. On the eastbound side, from Rankin to the Beltway. People couldn't even get by.
Yeah. I saw the videos. I got videos. People send me videos
it's
on
crazy.
Social media. But the point is, we need to have a discussion. And
how many times are we going to have to have this discussion? This is my third time coming down here about these same individuals. Mm-hmm. We don't have a quality of life. Now they building, like I say, they got warehouses all the way around us. They're trying to run us out.
Okay. So, again, we have some representatives from the church here that's going to speak right after you, and then they'll let you know
what are we going to do about it.
And we're going to hear from them. And then eventually we'll come up with and hopefully we can get the city to the mayor to help.
The officers are so disrespectful. You got HPD officers are so disrespectful to our community, trying to get out our community to go enjoy their Sunday or enjoy their day. It's got to stop. I can't keep coming down here every day or every Tuesday or every month to talk about this. I have stuff I have to do too. Mm-hmm. It's unsafe. Look at some of the pictures in my phone. You wouldn't believe it. They don't think we're a part of Houston. They think we're in Humble. We're a part of Houston. We pay taxes.
You just made a really important point. You're talking about Humble.
Yes.
The church is in Humble.
Yes.
Have you talked to the Humble city mayor and council?
We're in the city of Houston.
Okay.
We're in Humble, but we're in the city of Houston. I pay city utilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so we need to have a conversation with planning and the department, public works.
We need a meeting with the city, the church, Amazon, the trucking company, and the surrounding buildings that's coming up. If I show you some of these pictures, and you wouldn't believe it.
I looked at them. Thank you. Next.
Felicia Galloway Kizzy of Humble. No.
She's not here.
Ivy McGregor.
Tell Joe to stay.
To be followed by Stephen Taylor.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. It is not a coincidence that we are towards the end of the docket today because we represent Lighthouse Church and Ministries, which is a safe place in our community. Lighthouse Church and Ministries very quickly serves our community richly. We serve individuals that are housing insecure. We serve individuals that take care of children that have needs of sensory spaces. We also have a senior community that is very, very vibrant. And we have a tagline that we live by, that we are a light that loves, lifts, and leads. We are serving the greater Houston area, and people are coming by the thousands, and we're honored to serve them. We're here today to galvanize the support of the city to say, help us as we continue to serve our community. I met with my colleague, Stephen, who will come and share, and Craig.
Thank you. How you doing, Mayor? Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Yes, like Ms. Ivy said, we are a light that leads, and people have been led to the Lighthouse Church in that community by the droves. And yes, it was Easter Sunday, so we do admit there was abnormal traffic, but we hired, which we know are great police officer who we partner with every Sunday and every day that helped us with the traffic. We brought in 3 extra police officers just to deal with the traffic on Rankin Road, and we will continue to do that. And we've continued to do improvements as far as adding on to our parking lots and things of that nature. So we want to be a beacon in the community. We want to work with the community to see if there's any issues, and we did partner even with the business across the street to provide more parking, which is over 200 parking spaces. So we've mitigated some of those things. Last Sunday was great. You came in, you enjoyed the experience, no traffic on Rankin Road. So that's what we're here to do, is to work with the community and to provide services. So we look forward to continued support, and we are willing to meet with them. And I just want to introduce my colleague Craig Hawkins, who's the Director of Facilities.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I just want to reiterate what my colleague said, that we are, it's very important to us that we are committed to working with the community. So we're definitely looking for, or we will not shy away from the opportunity to sit down and have constructive conversation about what we can do for this entire community, to include the church. So again, for me, I've been there about a year now, so it's very important that I fully understand if I wanted to come down today and sit down and listen to the community and their concerns so that we can address them accordingly. Thank you.
Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for coming down, and thank you for sitting through the session. I know we have a lot of stuff happening here, but I did have our opportunity to go to church on Sunday, and it was smooth. It was really smooth. I got there a little early, and the line wasn't long, and I mean the process was really smooth. But I just want to say thank you all for everything that you're doing, and just for coming down to speak with the community, to let them know that you hear them, that you're doing everything you can to mitigate the issues, but you're doing a lot of great work in the community. I know they have a Mother's Day baby shower that's coming up, and so I'm looking forward to volunteering for that, but just want to say thank you, and just anything that my office can do to support you. But eventually we will pull a meeting together with Public Works, Planning Department, and of course the neighborhood, some of the leaders in the neighborhood behind the church, so that we can come up with a solution and a way that we can coexist. Because you guys are doing great work, and so I'm really excited about it. Your church was good. The spirit, I'm feeling it right here now. So thank you all. Thank you for coming down, and look forward to working with you.
Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for coming and certainly expressing it. Just wanted to uplift the question. Have you all had any engagement prior to today about the issues that has been brought forth in the community? Have you all had any engagement at any time with anyone that represent the community and the problems they're talking about?
Yes, I have. I've been there as Director of Security for over 15 years since the church has been there. And I've engaged with a number of people from the community. And that's when we added the extra officers. We went over and talked to the business across the street, and they allowed us to have additional parking there. And we did everything. We partnered with Next Door to come up with a system to place cones and things on Sundays and signs. So we have been working with them, yes.
Right. So those people that you spoke to, were they civic clubs? Were they, anyone, elected official or whatever? Had you spoke to anyone directly in a conversation, as well as the pastor, because we hearing that, has that happened?
Oh, yes, definitely. This is probably the initiative that Pastor Henderson and First Lady have put forth for us to do. Yeah. We've engaged in our staff meeting. We put together a team of about 8 people to specifically work on the traffic issues or any issues coming from the neighborhood specifically. So that's why last Sunday you see that it was initiated and it worked well. So Pastor Henderson, this is first on his list. And I was out there all Sunday and made sure everything ran smoothly. So we did engage with them. I believe that we have mitigated the situation and will continue to do so.
Good deal. Well, I'm happy to hear that, and we'll follow up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Delphina Sparks. Robert Singer. Jeanette Spencer of Spring. No. Ashraf Mahmood of Katy. Neil Aquino.
Thank you to the people of Houston for providing this forum. I want my remarks, please, today in the context of Mayor Whitmire saying earlier today, there's only one opinion that matters, and that's the governor's. So you're told right off there's no rule of law. You're told right off that there's no rule of law. Thank you to the Houstonians who created the political climate where passage of the ICE ordinance was possible, to Council Members Salinas, Kamen, and Pollard for sponsoring, and for the 12 who voted yes. Council must stick to the vote it made. White supremacists and authoritarians are unappeasable. Abbott and Paxton are unappeasable. The police and fire unions are unappeasable. We bust the budget for them, and they turn around and endorse politicians who threaten us. Thankfully, recent council elections are showing that the police union endorsement is increasingly a liability. Let's work to continue that in 2027. Do we have any chance as Houstonians, through the conventional political process here at City Hall, to mitigate the cruelty of ICE or to stand up against Abbott's promised 2026 Harris County election interference? He says our elections should be taken over. Tanisha Hudspeth says it all the time that she expects it. This is a question for each of us. It's a question that patriots in Minnesota answered when they necessarily took part in daily protest, and people in Hungary answered in voting Orban out. Mayor Whitmire, your view that a muted opposition to evil is some type of civic victory or virtue is awful. You've told me, Mayor, that you've seen our weekly Tuesday protest outside of Senator Cornyn's office. We were there today, week 479, every Tuesday, 11:30 to 1, 5300 Memorial Drive. You should come join us. We treat you with full respect, and you could see what it would be to be with people who will stand up for your rights. We are less than confident that you will stand up for our rights. We are willing to stand on that corner and get stuff thrown at us for systems that have sustained you lucratively at times for 50 years. We fight for the systems that sustain you. We have no concept that you will for us. This ordinance was always far more than just about ICE. Is meaningful progress possible at City Hall? I hope so. Councilmember Flickinger says all our concerns are little more than a rounding error. A little kid in some measles-ridden detention center is a rounding error. How do you make progress when people have such hard hearts? To my fellow Houstonians, let's build the capacity for Minnesota-type opposition and relentless political pressure. Everyday rank-and-file volunteers must continue to step up. There's no Antifa, Ms. Carter, I promise. It's everyday folks. If you wanted the most law-abiding folks who use turn signals, vote in every election, and return library books on time, you'd hold an anti-Trump protest. It is the embodiment of lawlessness rather than the aggression you saw from the police union earlier today. The next action is when you organize it. The First Amendment is your permit. The only credential needed is your presence. The work ahead is ours. The date of the next protest is Friday, April 17th, 9 a.m. here at City Hall as you vote to repeal this ordinance without a fight and strip us of any hope that we can have constitutional rights. Thank you.
Next.
Bernadette Cagney Reeves. To be followed by Ozell Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and my Councilman Flickinger. My name is Bernadette Cagney Reeves, and I'm a participant in the HPD Homeless Outreach Team, or the HOTS team. I am here to formally request a performance audit because a recent incident exposed a critical failure. The program does not provide real-time verification of participant status during active situations. On Good Friday, I was subjected to a non-consent tow by a neighboring agency while I was present and able to move my vehicle. Because HPD HOT was closed for the holiday, there was no mechanism for officers to verify my status. I later contacted HPD and was told by a lieutenant that the program is essentially a mail-only service. As a result, I was left stranded on the side of a strip mall with no assistance. This is not just a single incident, it's a systematic failure. A program designed to support vulnerable individuals cannot depend on business hours to function. Without real-time verification, participants are not recognized in the field, and the protections the program is supposed to provide break down at the point of contact. This raises serious concerns that warrant a performance audit. First, verification failure. Why is there no 24/7 system to confirm participant status during active encounters? Second, training and consistency. Why is there a disconnect between the program's intended purpose and how it is understood by HPD's leadership and other agencies, especially neighboring jurisdictions? Third, program effectiveness. If participants cannot be recognized or supported in real time, is the program meeting its stated objectives? This is a public safety issue. When coordination fails, vulnerable individuals are placed at risk and city resources are used inefficiently. I'm asking the City Council to direct a performance audit through the City Council Controller's Office to evaluate these gaps and ensure the HOT program delivers the consistent real-time support it promises. No Houstonian should be left stranded because a safety program only works during business hours. Thank you.
Next.
Ozell Johnson. Jochebed Henley. Melissa Rowell. To be followed by John Nix.
Mayor Whitmire, City Council members, I'm Melissa Rowell. A $174 million shortfall is significant, and the public deserves to understand what caused it and how it will be addressed without raising taxes. Like millions of homeowners, the city must live within its means and spend responsibly. Your credit rating outlook was revised to negative due to shrinking reserves and financial pressures. A lower rating means higher borrowing costs, not just for the city, but for regional partners. For example, the North Harris County Regional Water Authority is responsible for approximately 34% of the Northeast Water Purification Plant expansion. Higher borrowing costs could ultimately impact ratepayers across the region. The mayor has mentioned eliminating waste, fraud, and duplication. What efficiencies are being implemented? Is there a team assigned to this effort? What is the timeline? Additionally, recent reporting about potential P-card abuse in Houston Public Works raises concerns about internal controls. What corrective actions have been implemented? Are department managers approving purchases and invoices more closely? The public is looking for transparency, accountability, and a clear plan forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
John Nix. To be followed by Michelle Eigenbohr from Hockley.
Good afternoon, Mayor and fellow City Council members. I'm John Nix. I'm still a resident of District A in Spring Branch, and 1 minute is tough. But I want to see my city do better with getting more and more fiber into buildings and neighborhoods that don't have high-speed internet options, like they don't have Xfinity or AT&T to go into, and give a blanket approval to these companies like Easy Fiber to come in, or the city itself builds the wire, and then we have different companies sell the internet off the wire, similar to how we have with CenterPoint and all these different power companies as well. That's one of my main issues I came today. Other issues, I believe every single speaker that registers should have 3 minutes. 1 minute is too narrow. So that's number two. Number three, I would like to have my city fight this ICE issue. Fight it tooth and nail, get the TRO, and pretty much go to the city and say, hey, stop.
Your time has expired.
Go ahead. Are you through?
Almost. And have the city stop sending money to the state in retaliation and say, hey, we need the money here. We need it, and then including starting the talks to become an independent state away from the tyrants in Austin, like we're allowed to do in the annexation agreement. ICE is completely unbiblical. It's even in the Bible to welcome all day to strangers, and I'm out of time.
Very good. Thank you. Next.
Michelle Eigenbohr of Hockley. Actually, I don't see him. Joseph Amari. This completes the list of speakers.
We stand recessed till 9 in the morning.